Think back to the last time your neck felt stiff or tight at the back. What did you tell yourself? That you were tired, that you were stressed, or perhaps that your blood pressure was high? These are three of the most common explanations. People reach for and all three, while sometimes true, can mask a far more dangerous reality. The stiffness and tightness at the back of the neck can be one of the very last signals the body produces before the carotid arteries, which carry approximately 80% of all blood flowing to the brain, reach a critical level of blockage. Before going further, one medical misconception must be addressed directly. Stiff neck and high blood pressure have no direct causal relationship. This is medically established fact. The common notion that a stiff neck means blood pressure is rising is a widespread misunderstanding. Most neck stiffness comes from muscle tension or tension-type headaches triggered by posture, fatigue, or psychological stress. The problem is that this misunderstanding causes people to dismiss recurring neck tightness as benign, while inside the carotid arteries, a slow and entirely silent accumulation of cholesterol plaque continues unchecked. Carotid artery stenosis, the narrowing of the arteries that run along each side of the neck, is responsible for more than 15% of all ischemic strokes worldwide. Its most frightening characteristic is its silence. Below 50% blockage, almost no symptoms exist. At 60 to 70% blockage, most people still feel nothing unusual. It is only when the artery has narrowed by 70% or more that occasional symptoms, a tingling or electric sensation at the back of the neck, trembling in a hand, brief visual disturbances may begin to appear. By the time these symptoms emerge, the situation is already advanced. This is the body's final warning, not an early one. The quantitative stakes are severe. Research on patients with carotid stenosis above 70%, who then experienced a transient ischemic attack, found that their risk of a full stroke within 90 days was as high as 25%. Even in patients with asymptomatic stenosis between 60 and 99% managed with standard medical care, the annual stroke risk reaches 2 to 2.5%. Studies estimate that carotid artery stenosis is present in 15 to 20% of all ischemic stroke patients. These numbers confirm a clear pattern. Carotid narrowing is a powerful and largely silent predictor of stroke, and once external signals appear, the window for safe intervention has already narrowed considerably. Understanding which type of neck stiffness you are experiencing is the first critical step. 3 distinct patterns exist, and distinguishing between them may prompt the right action at the right time. The first pattern is muscular tension. This arises from prolonged static posture, looking down at a phone, sitting at a desk without moving, or sleeping in a poor position. The tension responds to stretching, heat application, or gentle movement. After 5 to 10 minutes of neck mobilization, the tightness eases. This is the most common pattern and generally the least concerning in isolation. The second pattern is tension-type headache. This produces a band-like squeezing sensation across the back of the head and upper neck, often triggered by stress, sleep deprivation, or sudden caffeine reduction. It improves reliably with rest, adequate sleep, and stress reduction. The third pattern is the vascular warning type, and this is what demands immediate attention. In this case, neck discomfort persists or recurs despite stretching and rest, does not follow the normal pattern of muscular fatigue, and appears without clear postural cause. The critical indicator is whether any of the following 5 accompanying symptoms have occurred, even briefly. First, sudden blurring of one eye or a loss of part of the visual field. Second, sudden weakness or numbness in one arm or leg. Third, speech that suddenly becomes slurred, or a word that suddenly cannot be recalled. Fourth, severe unexplained dizziness or a sudden loss of balance. Fifth, an unusually intense headache that is unlike any previously experienced. These symptoms represent the classic presentation of a transient ischemic attack. They may last only a few minutes and then resolve completely, leading many people to assume nothing serious happened. This assumption is potentially fatal. The 90-day stroke risk following a transient ischemic attack in the setting of significant carotid stenosis is among the highest short-term stroke risks in clinical medicine. Who should actively seek carotid artery ultrasound? Screening? For patients with hypertension, screening from the age of 40 is recommended. Those with diabetes, dyslipidemia, or a smoking history should also pursue regular carotid ultrasound from their 40s onward. Blood tests and blood pressure. Readings alone cannot reveal what is happening structurally inside the artery wall. Carotid ultrasound is non-invasive, radiation-free, and provides direct visual data on arterial wall thickness and the presence of plaque, making it the most practical tool available for early detection of stroke risk. 5 foods provide direct protection for the carotid arteries and help slow the progression of arterial narrowing. Fatty fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly salmon, mackerel, and sardines, stabilize existing arterial plaque and reduce the likelihood of unstable plaque rupturing and releasing a clot. Multiple clinical studies on carotid intima media thickness, the measurement of artery wall thickness, used as a marker of atherosclerosis progression, have shown that omega-3 rich dietary patterns slow the increase in this measurement over time. A large cardiovascular study found that high-dose omega-3 supplementation reduced the combined risk of non-fatal heart attack, stroke, and cardiovascular death by 25%. Olive oil and polyphenol-rich foods form the second protective category. The polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil inhibit oxidative modification of harmful LDL cholesterol, which is the process that drives plaque formation inside artery walls. A 5-year dietary antioxidant intervention study found that participants with higher dietary antioxidant intake showed significantly less increase in carotid intima media thickness compared to those with lower intake. Mediterranean-style diets built around olive oil, vegetables, and legumes consistently demonstrate carotid protective effects. In long-term studies, garlic provides allicin and other sulfur compounds that inhibit platelet aggregation, dilate blood vessels, and suppress the oxidative processes driving plaque buildup. Clinical evidence supports garlic's ability to slow atherosclerosis progression and provide a supplementary blood pressure-lowering effect of up to 8 mm of mercury in systolic pressure, directly reducing the mechanical pressure on carotid vessel walls. Berries and dark leafy greens, including blueberries, strawberries, spinach, and kale, supply anthocyanins and flavonoids that protect the endothelial lining of blood vessels from oxidative damage. A 1-year lifestyle intervention study found measurable improvement in carotid intima media thickness in participants who increased antioxidant food consumption, with the greatest benefit in those who began the study with the most advanced arterial thickening. Oats and whole grains provide beta-glucan, the most effective dietary fiber for reducing LDL cholesterol. Since LDL cholesterol is the primary building material of arterial plaque, consistent oat consumption addresses the atherosclerotic process at its origin. A 12-month Mediterranean diet study reported simultaneous improvement in both lipid profiles and carotid intima media thickness measurements. One final critical safety message. Everything in this video is preventive health information and does not replace clinical evaluation. If your neck stiffness recurs without clear postural cause, or if any of the 5 vascular warning symptoms described today occur even momentarily, seek evaluation from a neurologist without delay. A transient ischemic attack that resolves completely is not a near miss to be relieved about. It is an emergency signal that demands immediate medical investigation. The 90 days following such an event represent one of the highest risk windows in cardiovascular medicine. Do not wait, do not dismiss it, and do not self-diagnose based on this or any other video alone. Your carotid arteries carry the blood that keeps your brain alive. Treat this week's information as the beginning of a serious, long-term commitment to protecting them.